All right, I'm going to take an attempt at explaining some questions that I was a little stumped on when we talked about in class. So this is 2.2, talking about limits, and numbers 29 through 32. And some of the groups were asking about them, and they said they had graphed them on Desmos or on their graphing calculator, and we were getting something that just wasn't really making sense to me. And so we're trying to figure out the end behavior. And so the first example is, let's look at number 31. So down here on the right, a lot of the students that graphed them on Desmos got something like this, right? You can see it looks very much like a parabola, and they said, let's go with option A, right? That's going to tell us both ends are going up. Now, it bothered me a little bit because, right, if we look at the power function for this one, try not to make it too dizzy, the highest power term in the numerator is 2x to the fourth, and then the denominator, it's just minus x. Now, when I divide those, I get negative 2x cubed. Negative 2x cubed. And if you remember from trig, or algebra 2 even, you should know this in algebra 2, if it's odd, the direction is going to be different on the ends. Negative means that as x gets large, it's going to go negative, and then the opposite side is going to go in the opposite. So that made us think it should be D, right? It's more like D. So how is this happening? Why is this happening? Why does it say analytically it should look like D, but graphically we are seeing A, all right? So it took me a while to think about it. Now, I have to say I trust the analysis in my own mind more than the Desmos because, right, when we look at Desmos, sometimes we don't realize it, but we might only be seeing part of the picture. And this has happened to me before, and I realized after some playing around, it took me quite a while to think about it, but I knew it had to be down there somewhere. But if you look at this graph, I'm zoomed way out. I don't know if you can tell, but right here is like negative 200. And I had to change the scale a lot. It's only going out here to maybe 5 or 6 on the left and the right. So it's extremely zoomed in on the x-axis, only maybe 10 values, but zoomed way out to maybe 1,000 on the y values. But what it points out is that when you move to the right, where x is greater than 2, there's this whole piece of the graph that we weren't seeing before. Okay, so yes, it does have this behavior, but this is not an end of the graph. And neither is this. Those are on the interior of the graph. What we see on the ends of the graph as x goes to infinity is going down to the right, up to the left, just like graph D. All right, so that's kind of the resolution, and that's actually what's happening in some of the other ones that you guys asked about. I will say that each option, A, B, C, D, is used once only, and our answer for 31 is going to be D. All right, so great question, and it was a good reminder for me. Hope that helps.